Okay, NFL Divisional Round prediction. So you have your first game, the number 2 seed Bills versus the number 3 seed Chiefs. This is a very interesting matchup. Both teams, they meet a lot in the playoffs. They've been in this position a lot of times. However, neither teams are playing their best football right now. The Chiefs, obviously, even in that wild card win against the Dolphins, their wide receivers continue to drop passes and their offense isn't super explosive, especially in another cold weather game. But the Chiefs' defense has been playing lights out. Similarly, the Bills have their turnover problems. Not so much in the wild card round, but throughout this season, throughout the last month, they've had turnover problems. Still very good offense, but turnovers hold them back, and their defense has been really good. However, I think that Bills' injuries, especially to their cornerback position, um, will be too much for them to overcome. I want to take the Bills here, but I think Chiefs have just dominated the Bills in the playoffs, and Chiefs defense has been playing lights out. Is still relatively healthy compared to the Bills, and I think Bills turnover problem is one too many. In the regular season they met and the game was close, and I think the Chiefs are going to avenge their loss in the regular season and going to get the win here. Then you have the Ravens versus the Texans. Um, Texans aren't coming off a win against the Cleveland Browns, but they play another very tough opponent. The Ravens' defense is one of the best. Their offense is just as good. Texans, CJ Stroud, I don't know how much he can carry the offense. Outside of CJ Stroud and Nico Collins, that Texans running game isn't doing much. The offensive line isn't that good. Their whole defense isn't that good, and Ravens should easily beat the Texans. But I'm not sure if the Ravens will have rust, but if the Ravens are prepared for this game and there's no rust, Ravens I think should easily dismantle the Texans. Texans are going to put up points, but I think the Ravens we beat the Texans 35 to 24. And in this game I have the Chiefs winning in a close one. I'm winning 26 to 24 against the Bills. And then you have the very interesting game that I did not expect: the Lions versus the Bucks. Both these teams are coming off stellar wins. Lions coming off a win in the wild card round against the Rams, while the Bucks come off a win against the Eagles. Bucks, their offense has been really played a really good game against the Eagles. Baker Mayfield is really on, but outside of Baker Mayfield, their running game isn't doing great, and their offensive line isn't great. And the Bucks defense is what I'm most concerned about. They did have a good game versus the Eagles, but this season I don't think their defense is that good. While the Lions, like I said, their team is so inconsistent. Their offense was great in the first half, but their defense was great in the second half. But the Lions are at home, and I think they have a lot more talented than the Bucks. But I believe this one's going to be a high-scoring shootout. Bucks are going to get points. I expect the Lions to win 34 to 31. Lions, I think at home was just way too strong. Then you have the Niners versus the Packers. Packers coming off an upset against the Cowboys, while the Niners had the number one seed. Packers, they really surprised me. Their offense, their Jordan Love did great. Their defense actually slowed down the Cowboys. However, I think the Niners are a completely different beast than the Cowboys. Niners, their defense, it was I think like one of the best. Their offense, with Brock Purdy, should dice up that Joe Barry defense. And I just don't see Jordan Love having that great of a game versus that defense. And I think the Niners are just a more experienced team, especially coming off that bye. And um, Niners just dominate Packers in the playoffs. So I think that this one's not even going to be a close game. I have the Niners winning 42 to 21. So there you have my NFL divisional round predictions.